I love poker and gimmicks. You probably like poker and gimmicks too. It gives some reason for each game to be more unique to itself. But the thing is, how long are poker and gimmicks gonna last? Don't get me wrong, I like poker and gimmicks and I think they're a good addition, but at what point are Game Freak gonna just stop making gimmicks? Like, what more ideas can you come up with? Like, yes, we got giant kaijus, ultimate transformations, essentially nukes. Now what else do we have to do? There's too much gimmicks at the point. Like, what is the next chapter of making gimmicks? Well, today I'm gonna talk about the reason gimmicks are made and if gimmicks are still going to continue. So let's see. For gameplay reasons, I mean making the game more unique. Yes, poker is a good game and the unique thing is about getting to see the new poker and the new places in each game, but sometimes that can get a bit boring. You sometimes want a bit more, so I think gimmicks were added to make the games feel more unique. This could give every region more of a vibe and see how much the region was actually loved. Like, imagine if the colors region never had Mega Evolution. You know how boring that would be, especially with small amount of poker. So it's clearly that gimmicks are made to give a region more of a style. Literally, a Alola region revolves around Z moves. Without it, this region would be a pretty bad game without it. As I'm not saying that the Sun and Moon games are bad at all, but the Z moves are the main thing of the game. Without these gimmicks, some of the games will just be lackluster at most, especially because some Pokémon are designed to these gimmicks, such as Eternatus. Without Eternatus, Dynamax is useless, and it won't really make Eternatus seem that cool. So I think that's the reason why gimmicks are made, but this could also be a second reason I have. At the end of the day, Pokémon is still a company, and as most companies, they need to make money. And Pokémon's usual thing of making money are surprisingly not the games, but actually the plushies and stuff. And imagine introducing a new thing that can essentially make lots of plushies. Like, Mega Evolution is such a big thing, and the amount of plushies they can sell is a lot. This can also bring lots of old fans who probably lost the edge of Pokemon to come back to see a new cool form and give them more reason to buy the games. This is probably why also Mega Evolution was created, as the old fans likely got bored of this new Pokemon being introduced but not really anything happening. But with Mega Evolution, it gives a reason to the old fans as seeing the old Pokemon essentially get redesigned for these new forms. That gives it more hype for the old fans to try to play it, such leading them to buying the games and giving Game Freak more money. So yes, it's also kind of just a cheap way for them to make money, but there is also another reason, and I think might actually be the biggest reason of why gimmicks exist in Pokemon. Competitive Pokemon. This is the true reason why I think gimmicks are made, because competitive Pokemon seem to have got really popular during Gen 5. Maybe there are some things that in Gen 4, but I have not seen anything in Gen 4 and mostly seen the tournament starting in Gen 5. You could correct me, but that's just what I've been seeing. I've only seen tournaments starting in Gen 5, but it seems that after Pokemon seeing how popular competitiveness has gotten into Pokemon, and to make it a bit unique, since instead of just adding moves and new Pokemon and stuff, they decided to add gimmicks that really change competitive Pokemon. And I'm not gonna lie, but I think that's one of the best part about the new gimmicks. It really gives such light to competitive Pokemon. This makes every game for competitive people essentially very good, as they are able to strategize about this new gimmick and how it works. So I think that's why gimmicks are very good for competitive Pokemon, and is likely the main reason why they were created, as simply creating new Pokemon and new moves can get kind of stale over a while, but with gimmicks it kind of gives a bit of a new fresh look into making things. But the thing is, how long are gimmicks gonna last in the game? Well, I think I might have an answer. Well, in fact, two of them. Now let me start off with my first one. It's likely gimmicks are still gonna continue for now on and forever, as it seems as it got too popular with the fans. And if we simply just remove gimmicks now, like it will really affect the fans and really cause a rage bait, and we've clearly seen with the Dixit and other things of how angry the fans got. So it's likely that Game Freak are still gonna continue and somehow find a way to still make more gimmicks, because honestly I can really think what Game Freak could possibly do in my opinion. Like, you've done honestly most of the major things. Yeah, I actually had to use my brain to think of the theory of what the next gimmick could have to be. But yeah, it's likely that gimmicks are still gonna continue on. But for my second reason, and this one I find might be the real reason of what happened to gimmicks. Second reason what happened with gimmicks is relating to the new game, Pokemon Champions. As we know, Pokemon Champions is likely gonna be the new competitive game. And yes, I know the game is a bit, let's just say, laggy, but it still does have potential. If they do the promise and do make the game actually better, then this might be the new competitive game. And I still do think gimmicks still might exist, but not as the major one as they think. It's likely not really gonna get gimmicks as often. Like, yes, the new game is likely gonna have a gimmick, but I think Pokemon games will still continue and might use some gimmicks in some games, but we might start to see some games no more have gimmicks, and gimmicks being exclusive to Pokemon Champions. This will make the new games not have to always focus on new gimmicks, as the new game Champions can focus on gimmicks, so people who want to see the new gimmicks can play Champions and also have a feel of using them in competitive levels. So that's what I think is the real reason what will happen to Pokemon Champions. But time for the conclusion. So I think gimmicks are still gonna continue, and that they are going to be in some games but are not gonna be in every game. It's likely most of the gimmicks are gonna go to Pokemon Champions. But tell me, what do you think about this?